everybody, and welcome back to our next video in our Webex series. In this video we're going to talk about starting a Webex session that you previously planned and also how to explore some of the available features that you have within your Webex window. So in order to start a previously planned Webex session, you would click on My Webex here at the top, My Meetings here on the left hand side, and then you'll have all of your My Webex meetings. So you have this series of tabs here where you have daily, weekly, monthly, and all meetings. If you want to see everything, you would just click on all meetings, and that is everything that you have planned going forward. You can also search for the meetings by date, host, topic, or words, or you can search by weekly or monthly. So in this case, I'm just going to click on daily because I only have one meeting scheduled at the moment. And another important thing to pay attention to is here underneath where it says the date, it's the option of choosing the meetings you host or the meetings you're invited to. So let's say you're invited to a WebEx that you're looking for that you want to join, and this is selected, just the meetings you host is selected. You won't be able to see that meeting because it's a meeting you're invited to. So you just want to keep that in mind when you're trying to locate different WebExes that you might be invited to or WebExes that you're hosting. So in our case, it works out perfectly fine because we are simply hosting a meeting, and I have my WebEx training workshop here to which I have one person registered. If I click on that, I can see that the demo account has registered for that account, and I can go back and press start to start my session. So it's going to set up Training Center for me. It might take a few moments to start the WebEx. You might see, or your students might see, a prompt come up if they have never used WebEx before, asking them to download the client that is associated with WebEx. It takes a second. Chances are, if they are using Chrome, it's a plugin that they just have to install. I believe on Firefox, you may have to actually install and run the file. But if you follow the instructions to what they tell you, when you click on the session, it goes by very fast and your session will start. So if I click here, I can see that my session has begun, and I'm looking at my main screen here, and this is where I'm going to share all of my information with my participants. And on the right side here, I have a whole series of panels of the host and who's going to attend the WebEx. So we have our panelists, so the host is me, and then we have our demo account here of the person who attended the meeting. I muted both of us for the video, that way it didn't pick up, but I clicked on the little microphone here on either side to mute either one. So sometimes you'll find if you're in a WebEx training session and you have multiple people involved, sometimes people aren't aware that they have background noise, or they don't realize that everything going on behind them is extremely distracting. So if you run into a situation like that, you can mute the person directly from here by clicking on the little microphone. And you'll know that it's muted because it's red and the little X shows up here with the headphones. Here on the bottom you have the chat feature. There have been specific circumstances where I've had people who had problems with their microphone or issues with they couldn't speak in an actual WebEx, so what I would have them do is ask any questions or do anything by using the chat function. Chances are, if this is not showing, you just have to click on chat to expand it. If you don't see it right away, you just have to make sure that you expand the chat screen. So when you are sending messages, you want to make sure that you are aware of this drop-down menu here. We have send to all participants, send to the host, send to the presenter, or it just lists the attendees. So by default, any message you send, it's going to send it to everyone. So it'll say from Christina Dempsey to all participants. Now, if I want to send something to a student or a participant privately, I would just choose them from this here. So I only have one attendee, and I'll say, do you have any questions? And now it says that it was sent privately to demo account. So you just want to be aware of that when you, or if you are using the chat feature, that you are aware of who you're sending it to. Then you have these little emojis, I guess, that you can use. Most of the students will do this as well. So if the student has a little raised hand, I can see next to demo account that that student has a question. So I can click on that student and I can answer their question, and they could then put the hand down once their question has been answered. Sometimes if, let's say, you ask a yes or no question, they can respond by doing a little check mark or doing the red X, so that way you can tell whether their answer is yes or no. Sometimes if you have a student that needs you to go slower or faster, they will put these arrows up. So go slower, go faster. And the student also has the option of using emojis as well. If they're happy or if they had to leave, they took a break, they could put the little coffee cup. So the students do have those options, and then you as a teacher also have those options as well. If you are going on a break, that's a good example. You can choose to use the little coffee emoji to say, okay, it's time for a break and we'll be back in however long. So that's just a cute little extra that you can use when you're trying to communicate with students in a different way. If you don't like these panels showing up here, maybe it's too crowded for you, you can also click on the little arrows here and that will bring everything up so you don't see anything. But I'm going to leave mine open for now just so you can see what it looks like. So here in the main section is where most of the information is going to be discussed. The first thing, before we get into that, I want to mention that you can record your session if you feel that you want to record it and save it for later for maybe somebody who missed it or something. So you would press record and it would record the session from there. The options that you have here are the voice conference. You want to make sure that this is connected. If this is not connected, then no one is going to hear you and they won't be able to connect. Let's say you invited somebody that hasn't shown up, or you want to remind someone, or you want to invite somebody extra, you can click invite and remind and invite certain people depending on, you can put their email address in and send the invitation to them or remind them. Now with Webex, there are obviously sharing functions because that is what we want to do if we want to share a file or we want to share our screen. And you can access it from the Share My Desktop here on this window here. And there's a whole bunch of different little options here. Or you can do it from the toolbar here at the top. I want to go over a few of these sharing options now. The easiest one is the first one, and that would be to share your desktop. I'm going to use this list here at the top because I feel more comfortable using it, but you can also click on Share My Desktop here. So if you click on Share My Desktop, it's going to share your computer screen as is. Any of your applications and your icons on your screen are visible to other participants, so you want to make sure that if there's something you don't want anyone to see, that it is minimized. If I click on Share My Desktop, this little drop-down menu here at the top shows up, and now if I was a participant, I would be seeing pretty much anything that goes on the screen. So I'd be sharing my desktop and showing the students, it could be, let's say I want to show them Firefox, I can show them this way and it'll come up on their screen. I am sharing my entire desktop right now. Here at the top, this little drop-down menu, you can choose to bring up your participants panel, choose to bring up your chat panel, and little annotation tools if you want. So if I want to click on the little pencil here and I can underline certain things as I'm talking, it'll show up on the student's screen. So if I want to show them where the campus tour video is, I can circle watch now and they will be able to see it. When I'm done sharing, in order to get back to the main screen, if you are the host, you want to hover over this and click stop sharing, and that'll bring us back to our main page here where we can now share something else or do whatever we want to do going forward. We can also share files within Webex, and this is really useful if you want to discuss, let's say, a syllabus, or maybe you want to discuss a particular paper or a file. There are different ways that you can share files on Webex. So click on the share menu again, and you want to click share file, and your hard drive will open up and you just would choose what you want to share. So again, let's choose the academic calendar, and it's going to update here, and now this will show up as the academic calendar for this year. And if you want to discuss this, you have your annotation tools here at the top. Again, if you want to click on that, you can say that, so right now we're in the spring semester, and we're in April, so let's say we want to let people know the last day of classes. So we would underline May 1st is the last day of classes. So you can just use your annotation tools, and we'll talk a little bit about what these annotation tools do a little bit later in the video. If you are happy with this, you can keep it as it is. You can also X out a file if you wish, if you don't want to use it anymore. And you say yes, you want to view it and you don't want to save the current document. You can also share PowerPoints as well. So I have a PowerPoint here that I can choose to add, and you want to give it a second. Now the one thing you want to make sure is sometimes when you do upload, it doesn't upload right away and you won't see it right away, so you want to stay aware of these tabs here at the top. And depending on how many slides your PowerPoint is or how many pages your file is, it might take a little longer depending on those specifications. So we'll just give this a moment to load. And the reason why I wanted to show this to you is because there is multiple pages in this. So if I want to navigate through, I can navigate through this way and get through the PowerPoint that way. So again, if you want to keep your PowerPoint up, you can. I'm going to X mine out, and that's how you share files and PowerPoints back and forth. The third option that you can share is the application, and this could be sharing Firefox or sharing a particular program. And the reason why you would do this instead of doing your desktop is you can focus in on one application as opposed to everything else. So if I share Firefox, it's going to share my browser with them, but it's not going to share the rest of my desktop. So I would suggest, if you don't want everybody seeing everything on your desktop, to just choose, the application that you want to show them. And the student does not have to have that application installed on their computer in order for them to actually see what you're doing. Another option here to share is called a whiteboard. And if you click on that, we have the whiteboard that shows up here. And this can just be a way for you to either annotate, and you can use those tools here at the top. A few more words about these tools. You can use a pointer. So if I click on this, it'll show, click this, it'll show my name showed up. So if you have more than one person annotating, it'll show who pointed at that, and it'll put their name there. You can add text if you want. You can also erase that text by using the little eraser here at the top, or you can erase, whatever you've done as well by choosing the eraser. You can also change the color of what you're doing by clicking from the series of different options here. And you can also draw shapes in different colors like that. So, as a whiteboard, right now we're just using it as doodling, but maybe you want them to, maybe you just want to share ideas, or you want them to, give topic ideas, anything like that, you can use the whiteboard for. And again, this is going to be a tab at the top, very similar to the file sharing as well. So if you want to exit out, you can, or leave it there. The next option here on the share menu is the web browser. So you can you can navigate to a particular website while your attendees watch you do that. You also have the option here to share multimedia. And you can also share your session windows. If I want to share exactly what this window looks like with my students, I can, but I would suggest that before you do that, if you're going to share the session window, you close out the participants and the chat, because that way, if you do share your window, the students and the participants cannot see your chats and they can't see your participants. So that's a little bit about the sharing functions within Webex, and also a little bit about the annotation tools. Another cool option here is, let's say you have a student that you want them to take control for a little while and maybe give a tour of something they've done, or discuss maybe a paper that they worked on. You can give them presenter capabilities by just taking this little ball here and dragging it and dropping it over their account. And that will say that I want to change a presenter to the demo account, and click Change Presenter, and that will pass those privileges over to them. Now, when I did that, it automatically unmuted the demo account on the student machine. We want to make sure that mute that again, or the student mutes it again, unless they want to speak and be heard. Now, you can take back presenter capabilities as well by just bringing it back up to yourself. So I want to become the presenter. Again, it unmuted me automatically, and then now you have presenter capabilities back again. I also wanted to show you in this video that you can activate your video if you want. So I don't use the video often, but you can use it as the presenter or as the main panelist, as the host of the session, so that way the students would see your face. So if I connect my video, it'll say my video is about to go live, and you would see my face show up here, and I can direct my video this way. I always suggest that if you do have a lot of students, to not let them share their video, because that does slow down the bandwidth of the actual session. So if you are going to use video, it should be the host probably just using it. But if you do have a small group of students, then it shouldn't cause a problem. If you want to get rid of your video, you would just click on the video icon again, and that will get rid of the video as well. The last thing I want to show you here is how you can end a session. In order for you to go and end the session, you would go up to File. At the bottom, click End Training Session. Click it, and it'll ask you, do you want to end this training session for all participants? It says, or do you want to leave this session without ending it? We want to end it for all the participants, so we press End Session. It'll disconnect, and that's it. So we've gone over a few things in this video. We talked about how to start our Webex and how to use some of the features that Webex offers, and we also talked about actually ending that session as well. I hope that this was a good basic start for you to learn how to use Webex, and you'll find that if you're having an online class, that it really does bring that class to life and allows a different way to communicate with your students.